We have a possible bus accident at the 3070 interchange.
Arkansas State Police did receive a phone call of a bus crash.
They just start flipping.
The cuts, the wounds, the kids bleeding. He saw so much.
The number, in fact, of the injured has been updated to 45. Most of them are children.
We've got survival plot and med plot en route.
One fatality on board the bus.
Sky 7 captures the scene in Saline County where a charter bus crashed into the woods off Interstate 30 around 2:45 this morning. An all-star youth football team from Memphis on board. One child is dead and 45 other passengers injured. Good evening. I'm Erin Hawley in our Little Rock studio.
And I'm Chris May, live in Saline County. We are just across the street from the tow yard where this mangled bus was taken following this early morning crash today. We know the bus was just west of Benton, where we are right now, near mile marker 111 on Interstate 30 when it left the road and overturned. The driver, who did survive the crash, has reportedly told investigators she simply lost control. We have team coverage of this event tonight. We have reporters fanned out across central Arkansas covering every angle of this tragedy, from the victims and their families to the company that was responsible for their journey. We're going to begin tonight at the crash site. Our Nick Popham is standing by there live with the very latest on what happened today. Nick?
Yeah, Chris, as the sun sets, you can actually still see parts of the crash, of just how it all took place. Just over my left shoulder here, you can actually see the tracks of the bus as it made its way down off exit 111 on I-30 eastbound, hit this drainage area, and then began to roll into this cleared area. The reason why it's cleared is because crews were working all morning to clear this area to make sure that they had enough room to take that bus out of this ditch area just off exit 111. Now, this all happened at about 2:40 this morning. And as you mentioned, Chris, according to a statement taken by Arkansas State Police, the driver claims she had lost control of the bus, causing it to roll into this ditch in between exit 111 and I-30 eastbound. Now, the first member of law enforcement on scene was a deputy with the Saline County Sheriff's Office who said he saw kids lying all around the bus and was told there were more kids trapped inside. Now, law enforcement was able to get all the kids out, and everybody was taken to several local hospitals around Saline County as well as in Little Rock. Through the Freedom of Information Act, we were able to obtain the initial call made to 911, and it's here that you can get a sense of just how frantic the scene was this morning.
Okay, what happened?
We're on a bus coming back.
A bus just crashed?
Yes.
Alrighty. How many people are hurt?
We have kids everywhere. We have a lot of kids.
Just really tragic to hear those words. And all it took about 9 hours for crews to clear this area and get the bus back out of the ditch, where it is now in that lot where you are right now, Chris. Reporting live off I-30 eastbound. We'll send it back to you.
Okay, Nick Popham for us at the crash site where he has been much of this day. Nick, thank you so much for that. As Nick mentioned, the victims of this crash were taken to hospitals really all around central Arkansas to be treated for their injuries, and we're glad to report that at this hour, many of them have been released. Let's go to our Shelby Rose. She's standing by live outside of Arkansas Children's Hospital tonight with the stories of some of those who were injured. Shelby?
Chris, just a couple hours ago, Arkansas Children's held a press conference to provide an update on those victims they took in early this morning to their level 1 trauma center. In total, they took in 26 of those involved in this crash, ages ranging from 9 to 13 years old. Some of those injuries sustained include lacerations and fractures, some of those to the head. 2 patients did require emergency surgery upon arrival, and in total, 4 of those victims remain in hospital care but in stable condition. Now, ACH has opened up their hospital to these families as they are dealing with this unexpected tragedy with food, clothing, and supportive care. And as the only level 1 pediatric trauma center in the state, Arkansas Children's is always prepared for mass casualties like this one.
We were able to get people diagnosed, discharged into an operating room, those that needed that service in a very timely fashion, and everybody, as Chanda said, is doing quite well now.
In regards to the other hospitals that took in patients, I've heard back from Baptist Health and CHI St. Vincent, who took 3 patients each, and all of those have been discharged. And I'm awaiting to hear updates from UAMS and Saline Memorial. Chris?
Okay, an incredible job by first responders all around Central Arkansas today. Shelby Rose for us at Arkansas Children's Hospital. Shelby, thank you very much. As we told you, this youth football team was on its way back home to Memphis from Dallas, where they had participated in a football tournament when this crash occurred overnight. Our Stephanie Bennett joins us now from our live news center in Little Rock with more on the team itself and reaction from folks in Memphis. Stephanie?
Well, Chris, the Orange Mound football team is a community all-star team out of the Memphis area. It's made up of children, mostly middle school and elementary school aged. Now, Orange Mound Youth Association oversees the football team, and the Orange Mound community is in southeast Memphis. Several kids from surrounding school districts are a part of that team. The football team had played at a championship game in Dallas, as you mentioned, Chris, over the weekend, and it was traveling back to Memphis early this morning when the bus crashed here in Arkansas. An 11-year-old child died this morning as a result of that bus accident. Now, Memphis Mayor Jim Strickland taking to Twitter this morning saying hearts and prayers go out to the Orange Mound children and families involved in this morning's tragic bus accident. And Antonio Huntsman, the man who originally started the team that is now the Orange Mound football team, he posted on Facebook saying that he knows the players and the coaches involved and that he lifts them up in prayer at this time. Chris?
Okay, Stephanie Bennett for us in Little Rock tonight with the latest from Memphis, where these youngsters are from. Stephanie, thank you very much. Again, the bus itself was brought here to Newcomb Towing here in Benton after it was uprighted and removed from that ditch. We can take a look at some exclusive Sky 7 video of that bus being brought here. I'm told by a worker here at Newcomb that the bus has been impounded by authorities. It is actually in the pavilion that you can see behind us. Investigators will be going through that very closely as they look for a cause of this accident. They want to know, was this driver error, was this mechanical, or was it something else? You can be sure that they will get to that answer in due time. As for the bus itself, it is owned by a company based in Summerville, Tennessee. It is called Scott Shuttle Service. The KATV web team today has done some digging into that company's history. We found that one of its buses was in fact involved in a crash back in November of 2017. It happened in Jackson, Tennessee in wet road conditions. Fortunately, no one was injured in that accident. We also found that the company has been fined twice, once in 2015 and then once again in July of this year. The earlier fine was for violating a rule on inspections. The second fine involved the company allowing someone with a suspended, revoked, or canceled driver's license to actually drive. Those fines, by the way, came in at just under $3,500 each, and you can read much more about that at KATV.com. Now let's go back to our studios in Little Rock for more coverage on today's wreck. Aaron has more on the impact of this crash. Aaron?
Okay, Chris May in the field for us this evening. Chris, thanks. Tonight, we are hearing from one of the football players on that bus. Our Maureen Glisovic joins us with this exclusive. Maureen.
Well, this third grader is thankful to be alive and was glad to see his mother when she showed up at the hospital. Audra Johnson was sleeping when she got the call that her son Tyrese had been involved in a bus crash. Rushing from Memphis to Saline County, she was relieved when a nurse said Tyrese was alive. Tyrese's ear and shoulder will now need further medical attention, but he was released from the hospital sometime before 9 this morning. Tyrese was obviously shaken from the incident, telling KTV he was just resting his eyes when the bus crashed. His mother adding that she now fears he'll have nightmares from what he witnessed.
When you start flipping, I had got thrown to the other side of the bus.
He's like, Mama, some of the kids were actually in the bin where the luggage go. So he was telling me how the police had to cut a hole in the bus to pull the kids out to free the kids, and how one of his friends, he just saw some, and the things he was telling me, he saw some terrible things, and I think he's gonna be having some nightmares.
This third grader's uncle was also on the bus. He's still in Little Rock Hospital and is expected to undergo surgery. Coming up at 6, why this mother told me she had a bad feeling about this trip from the beginning. Erin.
Okay, Maureen, thanks. If you're just joining us, let's recap what we know. A charter bus carrying a youth football team overturned just before 3 a.m. on Interstate 30. That team was traveling home to Memphis after playing in a championship game in Dallas over the weekend. We know one child has died. 45 other passengers, including children and chaperones, are injured. The School Seed Foundation and Shelby County Schools are joining together to collect funds for the families impacted in today's crash. If you would like to donate to the Family Support Fund, you can find a link on our website, KATV.com.
We have a possible bus accident at the 3070 interchange.
Arkansas State Police did receive a phone call of a bus crash.
It just started flipping.
The cuts, the wounds, the kids bleeding. He saw so much.
The number, in fact, of the injured has been updated to 45. Most of them are children.
We've got survival plot and med plot en route.
One fatality on board the bus.
Good evening. Heartbreaking images from Saline County today. Our Sky 7 capturing the aftermath of a deadly bus crash near mile marker 111 on Interstate 30. That bus carrying a youth all-star football team headed home to Memphis after playing in a tournament in Dallas. Tonight, many left with unanswered questions, and our team is breaking down exactly how the tragedy unfolded. Our Chris May joins us live from Newcomb Towing in Benton, where just hours ago crews took that recovered charter bus. Chris?
That's right, Beth. That mangled bus is now here at Newcomb Towing. In fact, it's in the large pavilion that you can see here over my shoulder. It will be carefully inspected as officials try to determine exactly what happened this morning on that stretch of Interstate 30 just west of Benton. That's where this bus left the road, overturned, and claimed the life of at least one child and leaving 45 other passengers, both adults and children, injured. The news has been breaking all day on this. Our team of reporters has also been fanned out across Central Arkansas to get all the facts. We're going to begin our coverage with Nick Popham. He is standing by at the crash scene with the very latest on what happened in the early morning hours. Nick?
Yeah, Chris, it took a little bit over 9 hours for crews to get that bus, which was right behind me here in this brush area in this ditch, to get out of here and bring it up to where you are in Benton. But it's not that which was really, it really was the 911 call that really put into place just how hectic of a scene this was earlier this morning.
911, what's location to your emergency?
Hello.
Okay, what happened?
We're on a bus coming back.
A bus just crashed?
Yes.
Alrighty. How many people are hurt?
We have kids everywhere. We have a lot of kids.
The frantic voice of a man inside this charter bus at around 2:40 Monday morning. He and over 40 others, including members of a Little League football team, were heading back to Memphis from Dallas on I-30. According to Arkansas State Police, the driver said she lost control of the bus at exit 111 going toward Hot Springs. The bus rolled and landed in this ditch. State Police say one child died because of the crash.
So he knew immediately that he was going to need additional resources and 1 or 2 ambulances.
Lieutenant Joseph Traylor with the Saline County Sheriff's Office says one of the sheriff's deputies was the first on scene, and that based on the scene, he knew he had to act quickly.
There were a large number of individuals lying outside the bus, standing outside the bus, waiting for help, and he was told on scene that there were still people inside the bus.
Shortly after, more law enforcement arrived, and everyone was taken to nearby hospitals. Now, crews were working to get the bus out of the ditch probably until about 12:30 or 1 this afternoon. It was at that time that state police had closed down Interstate 30 eastbound in order to get that bus to where you are right now, Chris, in Benton. Reporting live from I-30 eastbound, I'm Nick Popham. We'll send it over to you, Chris.
Okay, Nick Popham with some incredible images from that crash scene from earlier today. Nick, thank you very much. Now, the emergency response to this disaster was extensive and it was demanding. Literally dozens of injured people having to be taken to hospitals around Central Arkansas. The majority of them taken to Arkansas Children's Hospital, and that is where our Shelby Rose is standing by live tonight with word from officials there. Shelby?
Chris, Arkansas Children's is the only level 1 pediatric trauma center in the state, and they regularly train to handle these mass casualty situations just like this one.
Nothing they saw today was new. Nothing they saw today was surprising. The magnitude of it was higher.
In all, Arkansas Children's took in 26 patients from the I-30 bus crash, ranging in ages from 9 to 13 years old. 2 patients required emergency surgery, the others with a wide range of injuries.
From injuries to the skull and brain to lots of lacerations, lots of broken bones, lots of contusions. We saw the whole gambit of that today.
As of Monday afternoon, 4 patients remained in Arkansas Children's care. The rest have been discharged. But that's not the only thing the hospital has been focused on throughout the day.
In addition to the excellent clinical care our team has been providing to these patients, we have really focused many efforts this morning on the family members and the trip chaperones.
ACH has opened up their hospital to these families as they are dealing with this unexpected tragedy, with food, clothing, and supportive care. But overall, Maxon is proud of the way his team handled the event.
It's really gratitude. I'm grateful for the opportunities that we've had in the past to drill on this, to have events like this. I know we're prepared.
In regards to the other hospitals that took in patients as well, I'm told that CHI St. Vincent and Baptist Health took 3 patients each, and they all had been discharged, and I'm waiting to hear updates from UAMS and Saline Memorial. Chris?
Okay, Shelby Rose for us tonight at Arkansas Children's Hospital. We'll continue monitoring those who are still being treated. Shelby, thanks so much. Just imagine how excited these kids from Memphis were to make this trip all the way from their home to Dallas for this football tournament and the trip back. And for their adventure to end like this is truly heartbreaking. Our Stephanie Bennett has been checking in today with folks in Memphis. She's got more now on the team itself and reaction to what's happened in their hometown. Stephanie?
Chris, that's right, and it is heartbreaking, not just for the families of the children involved in that bus crash, but for the whole community. In fact, we are seeing an outpouring of support all over social media from people in Memphis, surrounding areas, and even other states.
Something like this you don't want to see happen. You know, it affected the whole community, the whole city, because it was so many different teams mixed into one, you know.
Orange Mound, a community in southeast Memphis, home to the Orange Mound Youth Association football team, made up of mostly elementary and middle school-aged children from surrounding school districts.
My bid with a fellow coach called me on the phone and told me, and I've been up ever since.
Edward Robertson, who coaches the East Memphis Vikings, saying he's never experienced anything like what the Orange Mound football team did. The team, returning from what was a fun and exciting weekend, a championship game in Dallas, turned deadly early Monday morning.
You know, the bus ran out the road, and I don't know how, but it did.
The charter bus carrying 45 football players and chaperones crashing just outside of Little Rock. The life of 11-year-old Cameron Johnson, otherwise known as Cam Cam, was cut short as a result of that crash.
It's just pray and try to reach out to the families, man. Anything can help.
City leadership, too, acknowledging the tragedy. Memphis Mayor Jim Strickland taking to Twitter Monday morning, saying, "Hearts and prayers go out to the Orange Mound children and families involved in this morning's tragic bus accident." And I reached out to the man who says he started the team several years ago, Antonio Huntsman. He says that he knows the players and coaches on that team and that he's lifting everyone up in prayer at this time. Chris, we'll send it back to you.
Okay. So many people are. Stephanie Bennett for us in Little Rock tonight. Stephanie, thank you very much. As soon as this bus was uprighted and moved earlier today, it was brought once again here to Newcomb Towing Yard. It is inside this pavilion. It has been impounded by officials, according to a worker here. They, once again, will carefully go over this bus, trying to see if any mechanical issues may have contributed to this accident, whether it was driver error or whether something else may have caused it. It will be some time, though, before we have those answers. In the meantime, we do invite you to log log on to the KATV website to find out more about the bus company that owns and operates the charter bus involved in today's crash. Our web team doing some digging into their past, and they have a little bit more information on their safety record there. Again, that address for you is KATV.com. Our coverage continues now in Little Rock. Let's go back to Beth with that. Beth?
Okay, Chris, thanks so much. And tonight we are hearing from one of the football players on that bus. His mother telling Channel 7 this trip may have been doomed from the beginning. Our Maureen Glisovic joins us with this exclusive tonight. Maureen?
Well, Beth, while this mother is obviously thankful that her son and third grade son is alive tonight, along the way, this trip just didn't seem right, she says.
When it started flipping, I had got thrown into the other side of the bus.
Very scared. I was very upset, nervous. I just wanted to hurry up and get to him.
Audra Johnson was at home in Memphis when she found out her son Tyrese was on the bus that crashed in Saline County. As she rushed down I-40, her son was being treated for head and shoulder injuries.
Right now, I'm just blessed and thankful that my son made it out.
Johnson tells KATV prior to the trip she told Tyrese's uncle, who was also on the bus, that she was skeptical.
I was a little nervous about it because I told Shantae it didn't seem quite organized. The bus is running late and breaking down.
While the cause of this fatal bus crash is still unknown, Johnson now worries about the lasting images that will haunt her son.
He's like, Mama, some of the kids were actually in the bin where the luggage go. So he was telling me how the police had to cut a hole in the bus to pull the kids out to free the kids, and how one of his friends, he just saw some, and the things he was telling me, he saw some terrible things, and I think he's gonna be having some nightmares.
And the family is back in Memphis tonight, while Tyrese's uncle, who was also on that bus, he's expected to undergo surgery in Little Rock.
Okay, our hearts go out to that family and all the others tonight. Maureen, thanks a lot.